They told you you can't. They laughed when you dared. They wrote you off before you finished your first sentence. Maybe they were teachers, maybe family, maybe the voice in your own head. Tonight I want you to listen closely. That doubt is not your sentence. It is your starting gun. You are not here to ask for permission. You are here to prove them wrong. Not out of spite, but to prove to yourself that everything they counted out has a heartbeat, a plan, and a future. By the time you walk out of this room, you will know exactly how to turn their doubt into your fuel. They said you weren't enough. They said you didn't have what it takes. And maybe, for a moment, you believed them. Because when the world looks you in the eye and laughs at your dreams, it's hard not to question yourself. You remember the sting of those words. You can't do it. You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. Some of you carry those voices like scars, buried deep, but always echoing in the background. Think about it. How many times were you told to lower your expectations? How many times did someone roll their eyes when you spoke your dream out loud? It might have been a teacher who thought you were too average, a friend who secretly didn't want you to rise higher than them, or even family, the people you thought would be your biggest supporters, doubting your potential because they could not see beyond their own limitations. But here's the truth. Their judgment was never about you. It was about the limits of their own vision. Their disbelief was not your destiny. It was their fear, disguised as advice. And yet, the painful part is, we internalize it. We begin to shrink ourselves to fit their expectations. We stop chasing, we stop trying, we stop daring. Not because we were incapable, but because we let their voices sound louder than our own. This moment, right now, is about reclaiming that voice. This is about taking every you can't, every smirk, every doubt, and using it as fuel. Because the most powerful revenge is not anger, it's achievement. And the greatest response to those who doubt you is simple: prove them wrong. Every time you choose to listen to their doubt instead of your own potential, you pay a price. And it's not just a small price. It's the most expensive cost in life, the cost of unrealized dreams. Think about how many people go to their graves carrying songs that were never sung, businesses that were never started, goals that were never pursued, not because they couldn't, but because they were convinced they shouldn't. The danger of letting their voices control your choices is that you start living a smaller life than you were meant to. You accept average when greatness was in your reach. You settle for comfort when you were built for challenge. You stop taking risks because the fear of failing in front of them feels heavier than the hope of proving yourself. And what does that lead to? Regret. The kind of regret that creeps in late at night when everything is quiet. The whisper that says, "You could have done more. You should have tried harder. You had more inside you, and you let it die." That's the real enemy. Not failure, not mistakes, not setbacks. Regret. Because regret is permanent. I want you to imagine yourself 5 years from now, still listening to the people who doubted you. What would you have lost? Opportunities? Confidence? Maybe even relationships that would have blossomed if you had believed in yourself? Now imagine the opposite. 5 years of proving them wrong, of refusing to let doubt chain you down. Which life do you want to look back on? The stakes are everything. your future, your potential, your legacy, and the choice is simple. Live beneath their words or rise above them. I remember the day vividly. It wasn't just the words spoken. It was the tone, the smirk, the way the room seemed to agree with the verdict. Someone looked me dead in the eye and said, "You'll never make it. You're just not built for this." And in that moment, the world felt heavier than ever. Maybe you've had a moment like that too. A moment where the air leaves your chest, where you start questioning everything you thought you had inside. For me, it wasn't just about their words. It was the way those words began to echo in my own head. Every failure after that felt like proof that they were right. Every stumble became evidence against me. There was a night I sat alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I should quit altogether. My hands were shaking, my chest tight with frustration. I thought to myself, maybe they were right. Maybe I'm not enough. That's what doubt does. It doesn't just challenge your skill. It attacks your identity. But here's what I realized. That moment of being written off, as painful as it was, became the fire that lit something inside me. Because in that silence, I made a decision. I could either let their words define me, or I could use them as fuel to rewrite my story. And let me tell you, the decision to rise didn't start with confidence. It started with anger, with pain, with the raw need to prove that their version of me wasn't the truth. That moment of being underestimated became the turning point that changed everything. There comes a moment when you get tired of shrinking yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you are. For me, that moment was raw, uncomfortable, and heavy. I had a choice: keep playing small to avoid criticism, or step into the fire and risk failing publicly. And I realized something. Comfort wasn't saving me. Comfort was slowly killing me. Comfort whispers, stay where you are. Don't push too hard. Don't risk the embarrassment. But here's the truth. Comfort never builds champions. Comfort never writes history. Comfort never proves anyone wrong. It's only in the struggle, the grind, and the decision to keep moving forward that we discover what we're truly capable of. That night, I made a vow to myself. I would rather fail chasing what I believed in than live safely under the weight of their doubt. I decided to trade excuses for effort, fear for faith, hesitation for action. Because the real prison wasn't their words, it was my willingness to believe them. And once that decision was made, everything shifted. The fear didn't vanish overnight, but I stopped letting it drive me. The doubt didn't disappear, but I stopped feeding it. Every single day became a new opportunity to prove, first to myself, that I could keep moving despite the odds. The turning point is never about talent or resources. It's about deciding that you won't let comfort chain you. Deciding that even if the road is long, you will keep walking. That decision, to choose growth over comfort, to choose resilience over retreat, is the moment life begins to bend in your favor. When people hear the phrase "prove them wrong," they often think it means living out of revenge, chasing success just to silence the critics. But if that's all it is, you'll burn out quickly, because anger fades, and when it does, what will keep you moving? The truth is, proving them wrong isn't really about them at all. It's about you. It's about creating undeniable evidence that you are more than the limits others placed on you. It's about building proof that your potential is real, your discipline is real, and your growth is real. When you reframe "prove them wrong," it shifts from being about revenge to being about responsibility. Responsibility to yourself, to your future, and to the people who quietly believe in you but don't have the courage to say it yet. Understand this. Your critics don't get the final say. They only get the first word. The final word belongs to your actions, your persistence, your results. Every day you wake up and do the work, you're stacking proof. Proof that discipline beats doubt. Proof that consistency is louder than criticism. Proof that you are not defined by their limitations, but by your decisions. And here's the power in this mindset. Once you stop chasing approval and start chasing proof, your motivation becomes unshakable. Their disbelief stops being a burden and starts becoming fuel. You no longer need to argue, defend, or explain. Your life becomes the evidence. So, prove them wrong isn't about revenge. It's about building a record so undeniable that when people look at your journey, they can't help but admit you turned doubt into destiny. Dreams are built in silence. They're not built on the stage, or in the applause, or in the recognition. They are built in the daily choices you make when no one is watching. If you truly want to prove them wrong, it won't happen with one big moment. It will happen through consistent habits, repeated day after day until the proof becomes undeniable. The first tactic is simple: win the morning. If you start your day with discipline, the rest of the day bends to that rhythm. Wake up with purpose. Don't reach for your phone. Reach for your goals. Read, journal, train, pray, plan. Whatever it is that fuels your mind and body, do it first. That's how you set the tone. Second, embrace micro wins. Too many people quit because they chase massive change overnight. But progress is a collection of small victories. One page read, one workout completed, one call made. Stack these wins daily, and soon the mountain of proof is too high to ignore. Third, protect your time. Distractions are silent killers of destiny. Block your hours, create boundaries, and treat your goals as sacred appointments. If it matters to you, it belongs on your calendar. Fourth, learn relentlessly. Every day should teach you something through books, mentors, or experiences. Knowledge sharpens your edge, and discipline keeps it sharp. Finally, accountability. Find someone who will challenge you, not comfort you. Someone who will call you out when you slip and celebrate when you rise. These habits may seem small, but they are bricks. And brick by brick, they build a life so strong, so undeniable, that no critic can ever tear it down. The moment you start moving forward, don't expect applause. In fact, expect the opposite. People will mock your progress, not because you're failing, but because you're daring to grow. They'll laugh when your steps are small. They'll whisper when your results aren't instant. They'll say things like, "That's all you've done. That's nothing." But what they don't understand is that every great victory starts with what looks like nothing. Obstacles will come. You'll face rejection, delays, financial struggles, maybe even betrayal from people you trusted. That's part of the journey. The road to proving them wrong is not a straight path. It's filled with detours, dead ends, and storms you never saw coming. And in those moments, it's tempting to believe their voices again, to wonder if they were right all along. But resilience is born in the fire of setbacks. Resilience is looking at the setback and saying, "This is not the end. This is just another test." When they mock your progress, remind yourself, mockery is proof you're moving. No one laughs at someone standing still. They only notice the one trying to rise. The key is this: don't let the ridicule derail you. Learn to recalibrate. Rest when you must, but don't quit. Redefine failure not as the opposite of success, but as part of success. Every setback carries a lesson, and every lesson is another weapon in your arsenal. So when they laugh, when they doubt, when they point at your struggles, let that fuel you. Because nothing silences mockery more powerfully than persistence. Keep going long enough, and the same people who laughed will one day ask you how you did it. There is a moment when the grind begins to show its reward. At first, it's subtle, a small victory, a minor breakthrough. Something so quiet most people would overlook it. But to you, it's proof. Proof that the effort is not wasted. Proof that the habits are working. Proof that the sacrifice has meaning. Maybe it's the first time you look in the mirror and see strength where there used to be weakness. Maybe it's the moment your business finally makes its first sale. Maybe it's the day you realize you no longer doubt yourself when you speak. These aren't just results, they're milestones. Each one shouting louder than the critics ever could. I am growing. I am changing. I am becoming. And here's the beauty. People start to notice. The same voices that dismissed you begin to shift. Some stay silent because your progress exposes their own excuses. Others come forward quietly, almost hesitantly, asking, "How did you do it?" That's the power of proof. It doesn't need to argue. It doesn't need to explain. It simply exists, undeniable. In the results of your persistence, your progress becomes a living testimony, not just to silence your doubters, but to inspire the silent believers, the ones who were watching, hoping someone would rise so they could believe it's possible for themselves too. Your results are not just for you. They are a light for others trapped in the shadows of doubt. And as the evidence builds, you realize this journey was never just about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself right, about becoming living, breathing proof that determination can rewrite any story. Now comes the part that matters most: action. Because inspiration without action fades. Motivation without movement dies. If you walk away today feeling fired up but do nothing different tomorrow, the voices that doubted you will still win. So I challenge you, within the next 24 hours, take one step. Not next week, not when life feels easier. Now, what does that step look like? For some of you, it means waking up an hour earlier and dedicating that time to your dream. For others, it means finally making that call, sending that email, starting that project you've delayed for months. Maybe it's walking into the gym, or maybe it's sitting down and writing the first page of your book. The action doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Then commit to 30 days. 30 days of consistency. 30 days of proving, not to them, but to yourself, that you are capable of discipline, that you are stronger than your excuses. Because in 30 days, you won't just feel different, you will be different. But don't stop there. Stretch it further. 90 days. Imagine what your life will look like 3 months from now if you refuse to quit. Imagine the strength, the momentum, the undeniable proof you will have built. That is how you silence doubt. Not with words, but with results. So, as you leave here, carry this with you. The challenge is simple, but not easy. 1 step today. 30 days of commitment. 90 days of transformation. Prove them wrong, not someday, but starting right now.